This is WWE NXT superstar Dominic Dijakovic, and you are feasting your ears on the Busted Wide Open podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open podcast, but if this is your first time joining the show, I would like to welcome you to our Patron Mailbag series, episode number 24. My name is Nick Howell.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and yes, Nick, this is our series of shows where our patrons ask us questions and we attempt to answer them as best we can off the cuff. And if you would like to ask us questions for this show, then all you have to do is go to patreon.com/BWO and sign up for one of our reward tiers. All the tiers include the ability to ask questions right here. And Lord knows, not only would we love to have you ask questions, but also we are deeply honored by everyone who has decided to help us out and become a patron on Patreon for this show, because you guys are the reason why we're able to keep doing what we do. The support you give allows us to continue to do this show, and it is so greatly appreciated. It is nearly beyond words. So thank you to all of our existing patrons and to all the patrons out there that are yet to join, that will be joining us on this awesome journey of wrestling podcasting.
Yes. As well as that, head over to Facebook and join us in the Busted Wide Open discussion group. That is sort of the hub of our operation, where you can find all kinds of fun news stories, memes, and most importantly, a really welcoming, inclusive community of professional wrestling fans. It's one of the things that I'm personally most proud of that we've built, and I want to thank everybody that is an active participant in that community, whether you're a lurker or whether you're actively posting stuff. Thank you guys for keeping it so civil. We've only had 2 or 3 bad apples over the course of like 3 years that we've been doing this now.
Goddamn miracle on the internet, by the way.
Exactly. So I'm in a bunch of different wrestling communities and on Facebook and several different places, and it's something I'm incredibly proud of. So thank you guys for keeping it civil on Facebook, and also for keeping all of the spoilers out of the group by using our new Discord server, which you can find links to if you're watching on YouTube in the description down below, or pinned across our social media profiles, as well as at BWOpodcast.com, where you can find links to all of our various social media profiles, as well as your podcast listening app of choice. You can also find links to find us here on YouTube at youtube.com/bustedwideopen, where we stream every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, and every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. And then we even do our Patron Mailbag show every Saturday, which you guys are listening to right now. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, jingle that little notification bell, and so you get alerted anytime we go live or put up new content. And we are on that race. We're rounding the corner to 1,000 subscribers. We are well over 700 at this point. We're making the drive, guys, so help us get there. Spread the word. Tell all your wrestling friends and family about the Busted Wide Open podcast here on YouTube, so that we can unlock all those cool new features that we get once we hit the 1,000 subscribers. It is the last metric, the last checkbox we have to check off. We've accomplished everything else we have, which is fascinating, in less than a year. Just since we started doing this in August, we've been able to grow that quickly. But thank you guys for all of your support. We really appreciate it. Let's not waste any more time, because there's like 327 questions this week. So, Ian, we're going to have a long show. Grab a snack, grab a drink, strap in, folks.
I'm stuck here. You didn't warn me. Crap. All right.
Yep. I had a snack, so we're good.
All right.
Kicking things off, he seems to get the first question in every week.
Jacob
Uhas, every single week. Since Mania is now going to be 2 nights, what will happen to NXT TakeOver Tampa? If they were to do some main roster versus NXT matches at Mania, who would you like to see? Keep up the amazing work, guys. Thank you, Jake. Okay, so main roster versus NXT superstars.
Well, first of all, I think he asked what was happening to TakeOver Tampa. It's not happening. It may happen the week after on Wednesday and go against AEW. They may hold off on it and have it run on a Wednesday opposite Blood and Guts, which is my suspicion. But
now that they've postponed that, how are they going to know when to plan for TakeOver is the concern.
Well, if they keep doing episodes like they did this week, Nick, they can do it indefinitely. So that's all we know about that so far. We don't have a official date for Takeover Tampa when it's going to be rescheduled to, but obviously, we'll see how things go over the next few weeks. What main roster versus NXT matches? Well, we're already getting Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte, so that's one right there. Let's see. Main roster versus NXT. I'm trying to think of a fun one off the top of my head here, and it would be. I'm trying to think of someone to put Velveteen Dream with right now. Like, who would be the best person to really bring out the best in him and vice versa on the main roster?
U.S. champion Andrade.
See, I was going to say
former NXT champion Andrade, I should also add.
I was going to say Seth Rollins. I'm trying to think of someone who takes himself very seriously that Dream could poke holes in.
Yeah.
Because he's always, I think, best when going up against someone who's super serious. His best feud, I think, is still Aleister Black. And that I think elevated both guys.
Yeah.
Other NXT versus main roster, Adam Cole versus Seth Rollins. Give it to me all day, every day. Adam Cole versus Daniel Bryan. Adam Cole versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Adam Cole versus
all the old 2000 matches. Let's redux all of those. Because we've got everybody now.
Right. Bring it back. Bring it back.
I would love to see. Oh God, what was the one I was thinking of just now? Can we? Well, I guess NXT UK wouldn't be included.
Sure.
I can't do. I mean, Imperium's kind of in NXT as well. So I'm still uncertain of what that dynamic between UK and the American brand is. So I'm not sure. Like, it should all be the same thing. Can we pull from all the same talent pool? Let's go with that, just for good old sake. I am looking at somebody for. I know we have Walter and Finn building a program. That was going to be one of them, but I'm also looking at Walter and Keith Lee. I would love
you
to
just
see
like your
something
big
like
men slapping meat,
just,
don't you?
I just want to see them, and I recognize those are both NXTs, but I'm thinking NXT versus NXT UK to an extent there. As far like big men on the main roster, yeah, I would love to see Braun Strowman.
You want to see big men? I'd love to see Keith Lee get another shot at Brock, because he didn't. Brock blindsided him and Braun over the top rope at Royal Rumble. They protected both those guys quite nicely.
That's the match of matches right there.
Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar, Keith Lee, and I want to see him do some more with Roman. I thought they had great chemistry in the few moments that they had at the Survivor Series. So
yeah, where Roman can finisher spam him in 60 seconds, and that's
Keith,
about it. That's about the extent of Roman Reigns.
Keith Lee isn't beating any of these guys at the level he's at in his career. I'm saying, would we see a good match? And I think he and Roman would have a good match. I think Roman would allow him to tell a good story with him. So
good enough, I guess. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Your pessimism has come back.
I don't want
full
Roman
force.
Reigns anywhere near Keith Lee right now.
All right. That was one of the big moments of Survivor
right now
Series.
When he's getting to be Super Reigns again. Anyway. Oh God, we're retracting to 2 years ago.
Oh man.
Yep.
It's hurt.
You're going to be singing that damn song again very soon.
You might be right. After WrestleMania, I might be bringing the song out of the mothballs. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Thank you very much, Jacob. There's a lot of matches I think we could all fantasy book out of those two rosters for sure. Next up, Josh asks, Brody Lee to AEW.
Oh, you heard it here
Is this
first.
going to be a nice refresher, or do you think it's going to be Wyatt Family 2.0? Thanks, guys, for sticking through everything and continuing to give us content. We love you and Godspeed. Thank you,
To be
Josh.
clear, the Wyatt family at first was a great idea and a great program that WWE bungled. And thank you, Josh, for the kind words. Seriously, thank you.
And the irony of the bungle job that they re-aired on SmackDown last night, and that ESPN's going to be replaying as WrestleMania 30. Had they put Bray over Cena right there, rocket straps
be a whole
to the
different story
entire
for the
Wyatt
last few
family
years.
thing.
A whole different story. But instead, and now they're trying to fix history. And it's like, you can't put a Band-Aid on a missing leg, guys. But I think, here's the thing. I think that Brody Lee is going to have a lot more opportunity to show off his strengths which he did not get a chance to do in WWE. I think that to say it's the Wyatt family is totally different because instead of just being a thug, a silent thug, he's going to be the mastermind. It's a totally different thing. He's going to be the Bray Wyatt character.
He's going to be the Bray. Yeah, exactly.
You know, he's going to be Bray. I think that obviously there's parallels to the Wyatt family with the cult thing and bringing in people from outside and inducting them into the cult. I really hope that AEW allows them to do more with that than they did with the Wyatt family. I think that one of the things that made the Wyatt family so good for as long as it was Bray Wyatt's brilliance at creating character and really just dressing the room, if you will, like putting lots of little details and knickknacks all over his character and his storylines and everything. And I don't know.
The recruiting of Daniel Bryan, the recruiting of Randy Orton attempts.
But even with
all of those dynamics.
His characters themselves, the little details that he puts in them, whether it's the rocking chair and the room and what is Sister Abigail and all of everything that eventually became obvious and fell apart. But then you look at The Fiend and he just resurrected that concept of having just a really deep, multi-layered character. So he was really responsible for that. Does Brody Lee have the ability to do the same thing with this? I don't know. It might be more one note. It might be something completely different. I'm very curious to wait and see. But I think that he's in a much better environment that's more open to creative ideas and also other people bringing creative ideas to him with it. So, yeah.
For me, it's like I said on the other show. Make it special when he comes out.
Right.
Make it. Don't oversaturate us with the Exalted One.
Final boss.
Center exactly. Center everything around Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, specifically Evil Uno, because he's the talker.
Yeah.
He's the mouthpiece, and he's really good at it. Let Stu Grayson wrestle a lot because he's really good at that. And then have the Exalted One come out when the odds are against them and they can't seem to surpass whatever hurdle is in front of them. The Exalted One comes to save the day.
You pushed us too far.
Oh.
You done effed up. Here comes Brody Lee, and he just wrecks people. Yeah, which is kind of what they did right now. Is they pushed the Dark Order too far. Exalted One's got to show up and wreck fools. So
yes,
yeah, I think
absolutely. I'm very excited here.
If I had to come down on one side or the other, I'm going to come down on a nice refresher.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Josh. Next up, Will asks, I've of course seen a lot of people crapping on WWE for not having wrestlers being in the crowd as AEW did.
Yeah.
Guilty. You think that's because WWE is trying to abide by the 10-person crowd rule, or that they're already set on the road to Mania and they can lay back on their feud builds or something else? I think they have to understand that having someone in the crowd would be better, but they're avoiding it. Further supported by the 2-day Mania to stretch out who is in the building each day. Fair point. There's also a lot of speculation that they saw the success of Wrestle Kingdom being spread out over a 2-day event just a couple of months ago.
All they needed was the excuse to put it on for 2 days. Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. So, and it's been long, and it's 6 to 8 hours long if you include all of the activities, plus all of the external auxiliary activities that are going around in the orbit of WrestleMania that weekend.
It's going to be easier to do 2 days of 4 hours than 1 day of 8 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just, it's too much. It's exhausting, especially when we're doing all our stuff with it too.
Right.
Why do we think WWE isn't putting people in the audience? I think it is a creative aesthetic decision that they wanted to have to really highlight that the quote unquote universe wasn't there. They're very big on, saying to their fans, it is you that makes a WWE, blah, 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 blah.
You're the biggest superstar.
Right. Which on one hand is lip service and hyperbole. On the other hand is completely accurate. So, the problem is that, I don't know if they realize this, highlighting that one of their biggest things isn't there is detrimental to the product. Like, try to hide it. Don't expose the weaknesses. And like we always complain that they do with their own wrestlers, where they expose the weaknesses of the wrestlers and sometimes actually make whole storylines around them, they're doing the same thing with their own product, where they're pointing out, they're saying, yes, we know this is a weakness. Look at it. Look at this weakness. Look how we're dealing with this weakness. It's right out there for all to see. Isn't it great? And it's like, no, guys, work around it, hide it, figure out ways to hide that and still put on something that is approximately what you normally put on, like AEW it did. Put the hard cam facing the stage. Pepper in wrestlers in the crowd. Keep them separated from each other so that they're not breaking the social distance rules. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways to do it. I wonder if they just didn't have enough time to turn the ship for SmackDown, and there may be some use of that going forward because it is just a better thing altogether. But they've kind of done it with having the hosts running all over the place, getting in the ring and being interactive. Triple H obviously did that in the first show. Byron Saxton coming down and interacting with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I agree though that WWE has to. It would be better to put someone in the crowd. But it's just, I wonder if at this point they're just going to say, nope, this is our format. We're sticking with it.
I hope not.
I hope not too.
I really hope not. Raw and SmackDown were really hard to watch.
But I'm not saying Vince is stubborn, but Vince is stubborn.
Yeah,
that's a stubborn old goat right there.
Yeah.
So
he knows best.
He knows best, and if he likes it this way, it ain't going to change.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, Will. Great question. Next up, Brian. Hey guys, no wrestling questions from me. Brian is our resident fellow horror fan.
Oh, here we go.
If I'm remembering right.
What we got? What we got?
I haven't read these yet, for the record, guys. I just wanted to thank you guys. While the love of wrestling laid the foundation, the way everyone interacts. Okay, I'm gonna get upset on this one. While the love of wrestling laid the foundation, the way everyone interacts with each other really helped build and reinforce this community. While the show focuses primarily on wrestling, I really do love how it's expanded to discuss other forms of entertainment at times. It adds more layers to the show, and love how we can all discuss movies and music in the Facebook group without people bashing each other for having different opinions or tastes.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Sorry for the long-winded praise. I actually condensed it significantly. Anyway, this is a question I just need to ask. Top 5, this is all you, by the way. Top 5 Japanese films you'd recommend. Genre does not matter. The only one I know of is what has been said is Quentin Tarantino's #1 film, and that's Battle Royale.
Battle Royale is good.
Royale,
or Lady Snowblood, which he based Kill Bill on.
Right. Does Rising Sun count? I love that movie.
No, it does not. That's terrible. That's an anti-Japanese. What the hell is wrong with you?
I don't know. I love Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery.
First of all, Brian, thank you for pointing that out, and thank you for the kind words, because I do love the fact that in the Facebook discussion group we can all talk about stuff, and people can say something and someone else will be like, "What are you talking about?" But then we'll discuss it. It won't just be like, "You're wrong and I hate you." It's just gonna be like, all right, let's discuss it. All right, we'll agree to disagree at the end of it. I love that. I also like the fact that this is a wrestling show, but everyone in this group, everyone who's listening right now, unless you're Dave Meltzer, you don't only love wrestling and there's nothing else that you care about in the entire world. This is to the exclusion of everything else. We all have other things we like, whether it's food, movies, comic books, vinyl records, yak hair, carpet collecting. I don't know. Whatever it is you're into, we all have our hobbies. And I love that like, I don't mind at all if every once in a while we have a little digression and dip into that, whether it's, NFL and sports or whatever it happens to be. And that's fun. Fun thing about this mailbag episode is it doesn't have to all be wrestling, mostly wrestling. It should mostly be wrestling. It's a wrestling show. But if at some point we digress into something else, and that's kind of fun too. And
we have dedicated channels in the Discord as well for this very purpose.
Yeah.
I call the category lifestyle, but it's like music, movies, TV,
Totally.
memes, all kinds of stuff. So make use of those. That's what they're there for. I'll come and hang out. I'll drop a meme in every now and then. I'll play some music. I'll do something. There's all kinds of other things we can do in that Discord outside of having live chats. So yeah, make sure we love that too. We always love interacting with you guys, regardless of whether we're talking about wrestling or not.
So all right.
absolutely.
So he asked me a question. I'm salivating on this, and I'm like, my brain is just spinning because
I'll be over here. I don't know anything about Japanese film.
You're missing out. This is going to be tough for me because there's so many different genres of Japanese film that I absolutely freaking love, and I am going to glancing over at my movie collection over there to try to spark something. I'll start with this. Esme in the chat said Seven Samurai, and while yes, I have to put at least one Kurosawa film in here. Seven Samurai is great. So is Yojimbo. So is Sanjuro. So is all of those. But so is Rashomon. But I'm actually going to say, if you watch one Kurosawa film, watch Throne of Blood. It's his adaptation of Macbeth with Toshiro Mifune as the lead guy, as Macbeth. It's absolutely bonkers, and it's amazing. It is just gnarly. And also, this is back when they were doing black and white movies. It's still, square ratio. And at the end of this movie, they actually shot real arrows at Toshiro Mifune. Spoiler alert, Macbeth dies. But during the scene when they kill him, an entire army has invaded his castle, and they're all just downstairs. He's on the balcony, and he's running around trying to escape this volleys of arrows, and they're peppering him with arrows. He's like a porcupine by the end of this. They shoot him with so many arrows. They really shot him with arrows. He had pieces of wood under his armor to stop them from hitting him. So when he's staring at the screen, staring off and being afraid, he's genuinely terrified one of these archers are going to screw up and hit him in the head. Absolutely gnarly scene. So Throne of Blood, if you're going to do Kurosawa, that's the one I've got to recommend. I'm going to go with Lone Wolf and Cub, Baby Cart on the Road to Hell, or you can just watch Shogun Assassin, which is the truncated Americanized version of the first two Lone Wolf and Cub movies. I would say actually get Criterion Channel streaming service, or just buy the Blu-ray of all, I think it's 9 Lone Wolf and Cub movies. They're all fantastic. Just lights out. And if we're going to go for samurai movies, I'll also throw in the Samurai trilogy with Toshiro Mifune and Sword of Doom. You've got to have some anime in there. I'm just on the top of my head, I'm going to say Ninja Scroll, Akira, or Wicked City, or Berserk. I love Berserk, and they do have a trilogy of them, but it ends halfway through the overall story, the trilogy of movies they have on Netflix right now, and it ends in a really, really gnarly, messed up place. So you have to understand the overall story if you're going to watch the Berserk movies. Takashi Miike's got to be in there. You have to watch some Takashi Miike. Audition, or Ichi the Killer, or one of those, or 13 Assassins if you want to watch a samurai film. And I'll end with a gnarly horror film. I'll end with Tokyo Gore Police. Just probably the most insane one.
You played that one in the bar, I believe.
I played Tokyo Gore Police in the bar.
That one I'm aware of because of that.
Yes, yes.
And we're all sitting there at the bar going, what in the hell are we watching right now?
It is just absolute insanity. Insanity. You've never seen anything like Tokyo Gore Police. I goddamn guarantee. If you want to absolutely have your brains leak out through your ears, Tokyo Gore Police. So
check your brain at the door on that one, folks.
That's my 10 Japanese movies that I recommend instead of 5.
Right, exactly.
I can't narrow it down
because we're overdoers here. We over deliver. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you for the kudos and the loving words. I appreciate it, man. Next up, Alex, one of our new patrons this week, asked first time posting a question.
Yes.
He said, honestly, I have 2. That's fine.
Okay.
First, Mr. Kennedy/Anderson is one of my favorite wrestlers to ever cut promos.
Yes.
Haven't heard you guys talk about him much. Just wanted to know how you guys felt about his WWE/TNA career. Second, who would you guys want Drew McIntyre's first opponent to be if he beats Lesnar at Mania and moves on? Thanks for all you guys do. Best wrestling podcast in the business.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Welcome to the Phenomenal Ones.
Yes.
What do you think, Ian? Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Anderson, where are you at on this?
Fan of his promo style. Obviously, the in-ring announcer style of announcing his own name that's just awesome. Yeah. As someone who pretty much, when I'm at the bar, that's kind of how I sound all the time. You've been to the bar, Nick. You know what I'm talking about.
I do. He doesn't blow fire though.
He does not blow fire. He does not blow fire yet. But I don't think he's a superlative in-ring worker or has terribly much beyond that. And I feel like he kind of shot himself in the foot with WWE and his career has never really recovered since. I like what he's doing right now in NWA. But I'm curious to see how that's going to end up because he does have a history of screwing himself over. So, I mixed bag. Mixed bag would be my final thoughts on Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Anderson.
Every now and then you have those guys that are really good at one thing but not so good at the others. He's really good at promos. But then you find other guys that are also pretty damn good at promos, but they're also fantastic workers. And those guys are always going to supersede others. So, yeah, much akin to what you were just saying, I feel like he's the former of those, unfortunately, where he's kind of a one-trick pony, where he's really good with a mic.
Right.
And before I really saw a lot of his work, I saw a lot of promos by none other than Zach Gibson of the Grizzled Young Vets. And now I've seen a lot of both, and he's really freaking good at both.
Yes.
So I'm looking at that as if I'm even comparing a tete-a-tete against other, guys that are good at multiple things, maybe that's what it is. So not really sure there. Second, who would you guys want? Who do you want Drew McIntyre's first opponent to be when he beats Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship finally?
First, let's see. He's on Raw. I think the obvious choice would be Seth Rollins. I'm gonna stick with Seth Rollins.
AJ Styles.
Ooh.
AJ Styles. That's who I'm going to go with.
That is really good.
Currently steeped in the heel gimmick with the OC. Has Carl Anderson and Big Luke Gallows on his side. It gives them a bit of a Healy advantage over someone who's a bit of a monster, even though AJ's a smaller guy. All of that dynamic works, and it kind of just slots in and bolts on nicely as a program. I really like the idea of the OC versus Drew McIntyre, and it just makes him look like even more of a big Scottish monster in the best way possible. So
yeah,
that's where I'm going.
Esme, did I just see you in the chat knocking Shakespeare? Because I brought up Macbeth a second ago. I think I saw her knocking Shakespeare. That's just...
No, she was knocking the fact that you said spoiler alert on a 100-year-old play.
Oh.
Or more than 100-year-old play.
I was going to say, she was like, I thought she was saying that she didn't like Shakespearean language or verse or whatever. And I'm like, it's the best. Yeah. It is the best. Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more, or close the wall up with our English dead. In peace, there's nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, then imitate the action of the tiger. Stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage. Then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let pry through the portage of the head like the brass cannon. I'm sorry, man. I could do this all day. I love that stuff. Sorry.
I love it. I love it. I just love watching you do stuff like that. Anyway, so it's kind of that,
Sorry.
I love thank you very much, Alex. Welcome to the Phenomenal Ones. Thank you for great questions there.
Yes.
Next up, another new patron, a wild new patron appears. Rob Hutchins. Thank you very much for joining the Phenomenal Ones and for your kind words. Hello, gents. New patron Rob here. I'll admit it. I'm the filthy casual. Uh-oh.
Yeah, but
listen, he goes further. I don't have the network. I watch AEW and NXT when I can, and I have a hard time getting through a full episode of Raw and SmackDown due to some of the horrible storytelling.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I just don't have the time to dedicate to watching that much wrestling. Yep. However, I've been listening to your show for a couple of years on the podcast. It makes me happy. I've tried other pods on wrestling, but I just have a hard time getting into them with yours. I look forward to it 2 times a week.
Oh, dude, thank you, man.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. He says, so thanks a lot. In these crazy times, I'd like to echo Ian's call for support of the creative community, hence the new patronage. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm loving it.
Dude, thank you, Rob.
Can't say thank you enough, Rob.
Seriously.
Here's his question. With ESPN, a.k.a. Disney, and Fox struggling with sports content, why wouldn't the WWE be in talks to put WrestleMania on Fox for free? There can't be that many new buys of the network or pay-per-view buys just over WrestleMania. As it's a long show, they could even do a 2-day Wrestle Kingdom style and sell ads between the matches. I think it brings eyes to the product, offers goodwill to the watchers, and puts a positive light on WWE corporate, a la giving it away for free in these tough times. What are your thoughts? What do you think about making WrestleMania a 2-day event on Fox?
I think that
I think USA would be pissed.
Yeah. I don't know. It's something where I think it's a little late in the game for them to try to negotiate that with Fox. It would just be so much red tape, and there'd have to be rejiggering of what they're doing at Fox for that. But we are seeing content being used on ESPN. I think that part of what you're saying here is actually happening. I think you mentioned that ESPN is struggling for sports content. It's why they're putting old WrestleManias on ESPN. ESPN is using WWE to support its network during these times. But ultimately, WWE's crown jewel, the thing that they really do want to concentrate on, yes, they make most of their money on TV, but that streaming service has to survive, and they have to have reasons for people to go there. They're going to have more people who don't subscribe or who unsubscribe if they don't put some of their major content on that streaming service. There still has to be a reason to drive people to that service. So
if they stop putting pay-per-views on the network, I'm done.
Right. So
hard stop.
Yeah. So that's I think a reason why they still want to keep it on the network, but they'll probably still, they've got a primetime Friday night 2-hour show on Fox every week. And that's giving them a couple $2 billion in revenue. So they're already running pretty there. They're already basically running a 2-hour advertisement for their network every Friday night on Fox.
Yeah.
Could they conceivably have programming on Fox satellite? Yeah, on cable, I mean. Yes, they could put it on cable, but then that's less viewers. So
Right.
It's a rock and a hard place. I don't think that they want to give away WrestleMania to the size of audience that you're going to get on Fox, because I think that's going to be less advantageous for them than putting it on the network. But at the same time, they don't want to put it on a secondary Fox station or ESPN yet. Now, we may see some sort of monetization of it in the future where they can take their time and work out a deal. But I think at this point, Fox has enough content to be on its, on regular TV Fox. It's got enough content for that. They're not worried there. It's the cable where they need the content, and cable's not going to be enough audience for WrestleMania. Right.
Right.
So WWE's not in a good position to negotiate this right now if they wanted to put WrestleMania on Fox and get the money they need for it to be there. So that's why I think that they're keeping on the network, but putting stuff on ESPN, other stuff.
Yeah. Do you think it's a good idea, just as an aside here, for them to be putting, like the last 3 to 5 WrestleManias on ESPN as some kind of precursor? There's a reason people rewatch movies over and over again on TNT and USA and TBS every day as they're airing them as part of their slate. Are WrestleManias rewatchable content? Is it going to draw in non-diehard wrestling fans? As Rob so aptly says, he's a filthy casual. Is Rob going to be channel surfing one day and come across a WrestleMania on ESPN and just sit there and watch it for 4 hours?
Maybe if he says he's got a hard time getting through Raw and SmackDown. He watches AEW and NXT when he can. Am I correct about that?
Yeah.
But if he's channel surfing, he's got nothing else to watch, and all of a sudden he comes across, Daniel Bryan running the gauntlet at WrestleMania 30. Maybe he's like, oh yeah, I'll check this out for a little bit. It's not their weekly stuff, which is sometimes very hard to watch, and I don't blame him at all for not being. Has other priorities. So, maybe like if they put their best stuff out there on TV, like greatest hits, not a bad idea. I'm surprised they put out nothing but newer WrestleManias. I would have put out there something like a classic, like 17 or something.
20. 20 would be a good one.
Sure.
A lot of action.
17, 18, 20.
Yeah.
Even go back to like 15. Yeah. I don't know. There's a few that I could think of.
There's a whole myriad of things you could be doing, not just re-airing a 6 to 8 hour pay-per-view in one sitting. That's the thing that's kind of got me thrown off. You're not going to keep somebody on a cable TV channel for 6 to 8 hours. It's just not going to happen. The Super Bowl's not even that friggin' long. So I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see if we get them, what the numbers were for this re-airing of WrestleMania 30 on ESPN and what the outcome of that is going to be, if it's something they're going to move forward on. That's kind of the thing I'm waiting with bated breath to find out. Like, is this going to be, is ESPN going to bear some fruit here?
Actually, no, question I have for Rob. Given your schedule of how much wrestling you consume, and I guess maybe you get most of your information from us, which cool. But
kind of why we do it.
Yeah, but what are your thoughts on them bringing in like a Goldberg or a Gronkowski? Like, does that make you more interested in seeing what happens?
Or Kane or Ronda Rousey or anybody that they've used as a draw over
Undertaker
the last few years.
coming out of the woodwork, like, is that something where you go, oh, maybe I'll check that out, just to see what they're up to, kind of thing? Like, does that work? Yeah. Obviously, maybe you're not the target. Maybe that's something where you see through that and you realize what that is. That's just a ploy to try to get your eyes on it for that one thing, or maybe it's something that does excite you. I'd be really curious to know how that plays. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question, Rob. Really good one, and
yes,
welcome
sir.
to the phenomenal ones. Thank you for
Amen.
your patronage during these times. And as you said, he said, "Oh, this is the other thing that's special about Rob. P.S. You can call me the dubstep patron, as I was number 50. Can't wait for that ringtone. So, Rob, you are hereby dubbed the dubstep patron. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I'm sure all the other patrons out there thank you for it, because you pushed us over the hump for sure.
Dubstep Rob.
Dubstep patron, Rob Hutchins. Thank you. Next up, Brandon asks, what wrestlers do you think should do a Drew McIntyre and leave their major company, go back on the indies, and reinvent themselves? And what reinventions would you like to see? So who's out there right now that you think needs a full makeover repackage? New gimmick, new look, new programs, all that stuff.
It's funny because the unique thing about Drew McIntyre was he kind of showed up before they really had NXT codified the way that it is now, where you really learn the WWE system there. And a lot of times they'll create in-house guys. And Drew McIntyre really kind of was an in-house guy. He didn't have a ton of experience before he came to the WWE. Some, but not much. But he wasn't like an indie darling or anything. He wasn't like Adam Cole.
Right.
He was mostly like, he came in and WWE was like, oh, you're the future. And then he just, screwed up and didn't treat it properly and lost his opportunity, and went out, learned humility, learned how to be a man, came back as, grown up, balls dropped Drew McIntyre. So he's a really unique example of someone going out and raising their stock and coming back. If there's one guy I think needs to get out and just have people understand what he really is, it's Rusev.
Yep.
Get out of WWE, show people what you can do.
I've got another one for you.
Hone that when he was a killer, when he was, Rusev, the guy who has studied martial arts and has, is a mat wrestler and all these other.
Wrestled bare feet,
all that.
Bulgarian brute.
Yep. Go out, go to New Japan, go work on that. Basically become the Bulgarian Jeff Cobb or Michael Elgin, and then come back as that kind of guy, as opposed to, hey, I'm Rusev. Look, I'm in front of a green screen on a beach. Hey, it's Rusev Day. Go out, do kind of what maybe Jake Hager's doing right now.
Sure.
Make people take you more seriously, because no one's doing We the People anymore to Jake Hager. Ain't nobody doing that anymore.
No.
So that's if I had to pick somebody, it'd be Rusev.
Mine might shock some people.
Okay.
Braun Strowman.
That doesn't shock me.
No, not you, but
that's your answer to goddamn everything, so it doesn't shock me.
Well, hearing my markery for Braun Strowman would probably shock some people for me to say that he needs to leave and go be repackaged. Look, Braun is Braun. He's a big, giant monster dude, but he can also do some pretty athletic stuff. Not quite Lance Archer style caliber, but I mean,
no.
He can run for a big man. He can move around, and he looks the part. But we all have seen what has happened over the last few years, from wrestling with a child and winning the tag team championships at WrestleMania to dancing with the New Day in the ring. What he came from in the very beginning as the black sheep of the Wyatt family, and just this unstoppable freight train of a monster that just came out, threw his hands up, roared, and then destroyed whoever happened to be in his presence.
Right.
I don't know how we get back to that at this point.
I don't know if you do it by
whatever
sending him to
we've
the
done
Indies. I don't know if he'd survive on the Indies. He's so inundated with WWE style and has obviously, swallowed the Kool-Aid, like we talked on the show about, his reaction to indie guys saying, please support us during this tough time. I feel like he's kind of mentally on a pedestal a little bit. I don't know if he would survive in the Indies. I wonder but maybe it's something where it would be good for him. I think he's too far along. He's not, he's past the point that Drew McIntyre got to.
Yeah.
When he went away. But Drew learned humility, and I wonder if Braun would. Drew has a lot more tools to work with than Braun does, if you know what I mean.
Good point.
So
Good point.
I don't know if that would be advantageous for Braun. I think it might actually, from a personal character standpoint, like not his wrestling character, but like internal character, I think it might be helpful for him, but I don't know if he'd survive.
Yeah,
so.
That's a good point. Several other suggestions in the chat. Chad Gable, Shinsuke Nakamura, Rowan.
Shinsuke had his shot. Shinsuke is at the end of his career right now. But Chad Gable for sure.
He's cashing the check and enjoying the ride right now.
Chad Gable for sure.
Chad, they've tried to repackage a few times, but I feel like he could do more outside of WWE right now than he's going to be able to do in it.
Yeah.
So I agree with that one.
Yeah, Nakamura's not going to go back out there and start having like 5-star, hard-hitting strong style classics. Like it's the irony
not
is
2008 anymore.
The king of strong style came to WWE and he didn't want to work strong style anymore because it hurts, and he's been doing it for 15 years. So he's like, dude, let's chill a little bit. Let's go for dick punches.
Right. The irony of seeing him and Cesaro working Daniel Bryan Danielson, and Drew Gulak this week. That was I even saw somebody in the chat say we got an actual strong style match here.
Well, theoretically, if they actually wanted to work that, but they're in front of nobody.
Right.
There's an empty arena and there's no stakes for this match. And it's not a pay-per-view, so why go strong style right now?
Right.
So,
thank you very much, Brandon. Great question. Next up, Jardy. Thanks again for the cash in the tip jar on the previous episode, brother.
Thank you so much.
He said, "Hello, guys. You must wear a wrestler's attire for a whole week. Which one do you choose? Thank you for the amazing content and always making me laugh in these tough times. Wish you all a nice day and be safe."
Thank you, sir. And to you as well.
So
John Moxley.
Attire?
John Moxley AEW attire, just jeans and a t-shirt. That's what I normally wear anyway. Jeans and a tank top. That's what I wear. So, boom. I'm already wearing wrestling attire. What about that? You know whose I wouldn't wear? Pac. I wouldn't wear that all week.
No, that would not work. I would look like that old man no one wants to see on the beach in a speedo.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
No.
Yeah, my dog would jump out the window.
Otis hasn't gotten that memo yet, however.
So whose would you wear?
I've always been a big fan of the singlet. So a la Big Show, a la Kurt Angle. Yeah.
I now have that mental image and I can't get it out of my head. Oh,
Nick's gonna wear a singlet for a week.
Oh God. Are we talking like a Killian Dane when he was wearing a singlet, or are we talking like a Chad Gable with the boy shorts bottoms and like
a Big Show? Like a Big Show.
Also like almost an Andre the Giant kind of thing.
Yeah. Two straps though. One strap was two straps. I don't want the exposed nipple.
You could pull off one strap.
It's okay.
You're the one who wants to wear a singlet.
Listen, you're gonna need two straps to hold all this up. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not talking about my junk. I'm talking about there's a lot going on down.
This is getting worse by the second.
Right. All right, we're gonna move on.
God.
Jardy, great question. Thank you for that. That's a lot of fun.
From now on, anyone who creates Nick in 2K, he's wearing a singlet.
Yes.
Just so you know.
Always. Next up, Jonathan asked, on your patron mailbag episode number 7, you guys made some really great suggestions on some death matches, which I enjoyed very much. Unfortunately, outside of Wrestle Kingdom 6, 7, and 11 through 14, I have not watched much New Japan. In your opinion,
go back and watch 10. Go back and watch 10.
Absolutely.
Go watch 10.
What are some of the best wrestling matches or shows from New Japan that you would recommend? New or old content, doesn't matter.
If you want like a lot of stuff to watch from the last couple of years, that'll just take up a ton of time while we're all stuck in our houses, just go watch the last 3 years worth of G1. Like just start at the beginning and just watch all the G1. It's going to take you forever to get through them all, and it's just nonstop great wrestling. It's fantastic, every single one. Last 3, I would even maybe even 4 years. It was last 3 years was like nonstop good stuff. 4 years ago was still pretty good, but
yeah, you could skip the tag matches too.
yeah, just go straight to the
Ian
meat.
says is a purist and wants me to watch all of it. I skip
It helps
the tag
the
matches.
stories, but you don't have to.
Yeah, kind of.
But,
Kevin's there to save the day.
Well, on the last 2, but before that,
Yeah,
you're a little bit
that's
on your own.
It's a good point.
Also, just off the top of my head from the last couple of years,
last year's New Japan Cup
was very good. I was going to say Dominion has been good 2018 and 2017. 19 was a letdown, but 17 and 18 Dominions both were just sick. You had, let's see, in the one to 2018, you had Young Bucks versus Roppongi Vice, Guerrillas of Destiny versus War Machine. Wait a minute. No, that's 17. 17 was Bucks versus Roppongi Vice, Guerrillas of Destiny, War Machine, Cody Rhodes versus Michael Elgin, Kushida versus Takahashi, which is one of my favorite New Japan matches of all time. You had the Lumberjack match, Suzuki versus Goto. You had Tanahashi Naito. And then, let's see, 2000, that was also Omega Okada 2. And then the following year, you had Omega Okada 4, both of which are just insane hour-long matches. And then 18, you've also got Takahashi versus Ospreay, Jericho versus Naito, and the Young Bucks versus Evil and Sonata. So 2 fantastic cards right there. If you want to go old off the top of my head, I'll pull King of the Ring 2013 is one that I just always go to. It's just everyone should just watch that one. G1 2011 is great too, but King of Pro Wrestling 2013. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Naomichi Marufuji. Okada Tanahashi was the main event. That was the one with Shibata and Ishii having one of their classic matches. And also, Nick, for you, Suzuki and Toru Yano. So that's another one. There's also there's a bunch of undercard people on King of Pro Wrestling 2013. Like you've got Lance Archer's there at that point. Prince Devitt, Finn Balor is in a match on that one. Jushin Thunder Liger is opening the show, as I recall. And it's back in the New Japan Dad era too, where you can see why people still love Yuji Nagata and Togi Makabe. Kota Ibushi, I think, actually is in the ring with Finn Balor on that one. So yeah, anyway, so King of Pro Wrestling 2013. That's go watch that one. Last few years, G1, Dominion. Boom.
And I'll rave about what the job that the Bullet Club series on YouTube that Kevin Kelly put together. I think it's a 5-parter where it just outlines everything of the that 5 to 6 year span up to kind of where they are now, starting with Devitt and Bad Luck Fale back in, I think it's 2012.
They're doing that for Los Ingobernables right now too.
Cool. I think I think he also did a series on Omega Okada, if I'm not mistaken. I saw something about that, but I don't think I've seen it yet. But yeah, he was basically outlining the whole story around 1, 2, and 3 of Omega Okada from the last few years. But yeah, tons of stuff. To me, it's the best value. If you're a diehard professional wrestling fan, their entire content catalog is there. And you can watch literally anything anytime you want to for the equivalent of about $8 US a month.
Yep, I'm not mad at that at all.
It's absurd. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Next up, Martin.
Did Andy Jessup just tip us in the?
Oh, that's right. Anonymous just tipped us. We are anonymous. We left you $10 in the tip jar.
But Andy's saying
that was Andy.
It was Andy. Dude,
Andy
thank
Jessup.
you, brother. Thank you so much, man. I know that means a lot. I know you're having some rough times, so that is insanely appreciated. Thank you so much, dude. And all of our best to you. I hope things are going well for you, man.
You too. Yep, absolutely. Next up, Martin. I hope you're both well and not going too crazy being stuck at home.
Not at all.
I love it. This is kind of like modus operandi for me. So Anyway, I know there's plenty of people out there struggling. What tag team from the past would you bring back and put in a match with a modern team? For me, it would be the Rockers versus the Best Friends. Okay, I can get there.
Either the Steiners versus Undisputed Era, or the Hart Foundation versus Undisputed Era, or Hart Foundation versus Usos. What you got, Nick? You're shaking your head over there.
The Hollies versus Undisputed Era.
The Hollies?
They beat the shit out of each other.
What? Of all of
Crash and Hardcore Holly? Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay. Edge and Christian versus Young Bucks.
Okay. I can get on board with that.
Right? Yeah. There you go. I like Rockers and Best Friends too, by the way. You know what? Have they?
How about the Bushwhackers versus Heavy Machinery? Let's double down on the gimmick.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah. That'd be great, man. I'd love to see the Bushwhackers lick kids' heads in this era of COVID. That'd be great.
Yeah, you and me both, right? Not to be outdone are the people on planes licking toilet seats. But I digress.
Oh, God.
I digress. I wouldn't do that without a pandemic going around. You're crazy.
There's not enough clout in the world.
No. Do you have any more you want to throw out there?
I'm
gonna land my plane on Bushwhackers Heavy Machinery because that's probably the best one I could come up with.
It can't. He said one's modern, right? One has to be modern. We can't do.
Oh, I got another one.
We can't. Hold on. We can't do superpowers or mega powers versus the 2-man power trip.
Rock and Sock Connection
Ooh.
versus Team Hell No.
Oh. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm not mad at that. What about Doink and Little Doink versus Braun and Nicholas? No?
No.
No? All right.
No. Thank you very much, Martin. I feel like we could go on with that one forever.
Kyle in the chat, Legion of Doom versus the Monstars.
Hell yes.
Ooh.
Hell yes.
Nummy. I like that.
Next up, Mr. Mop himself, Sean Clark. Mop Man Perry Sean here.
Yes, sir.
Hope every one of you phenomenal ones can't believe that stuck.
Me neither, Sean. Me neither. Me neither.
Are hanging in there
every day.
I think it was Martin who pitched, if you are having a hard time, you could reach out to him, and I wanted to extend the same courtesy. I'm here in America, so time change isn't as big of an issue. I'm all about leaning on each other, so you can always Skype with me if you need some sunshine in your life. I do stand-up comedy, motivational speaking, and host my own positivity podcast. Not putting myself over, just saying I'm a talker, and here, if any, and I mean any of you, need it.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for reaching out, and yeah, everyone, you can find him in the Facebook discussion group. Yep. So thank you for that, Sean.
Mr. Moment of Positivity himself.
Seriously.
Sean Clark. Question. Would you two please do one Mystery Science Wrestling Theater 3000 episode for me? Be sarcastic and rip into an old episode or pay-per-view just for the lulls that we could watch along with. Much love, brothers. Thank you for all that you do.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Do like a late era WCW, like Halloween Havoc, or like just like some garbage ass.
We don't even have to go back. Just find like Nia Jax versus Charlotte.
Oh, come on.
Apart. I'm just saying.
It's me you ripping on that.
Twice in one match, she almost killed her. Twice.
He's still so mad about it. Still so mad. What was that one backlash where they all started walking out on Roman and Samoa Joe? That'd be a fun one to just destroy. No, I'm sure there's a bunch of great. Oh God, was it SummerSlam 2006? Which was the one where Shawn Michaels was overselling Hulk Hogan? That one never gets old for me. It never gets old. Yeah, there's a bunch of ones we could do, or just go way back to like some of the really awful in your houses that WWE did. Sasha Banks back in the early 90s. There's some classics back then where we get like, like in the era of like Repo Man and like the Goon and some of the worst gimmicks ever. That would be fun.
We could have, they have the puppets, right? We could have Nia Jax watch it with us. Mystery Science Theater.
Who's going to play Nia Jax?
I don't know.
All right. Yeah, no, just like a
I'll make voices.
Oh no, that doesn't.
I do like upspeak and like talk like this the whole time. Yeah. Excuse me.
I wouldn't
Anyway.
survive. I would not survive.
No, you wouldn't. Thank you very much, Sean, and thank you for that outreach, man. That's good stuff. I'll echo those sentiments as well. If anybody needs to chat, Facebook Messenger me, please. Absolutely. Anytime. I'm always online. I'm always connected in some way, shape, or form. Lots of you have. Lots of you can testify that I'm always around. So feel free to reach out as well. Next up, Andy asks, and again, thank you for the $10.
Sir.
Andy in the tip jar. Is the empty arena format serving to accentuate the issues that the wrestling companies have? Does an audience only mask those issues? I have not thought about this way. I have not really calculated this in my head as...
I think we mentioned it when we were talking about the Bray Cena thing, was if you pull away the audience, now you don't have a fallback. Now you don't have your parachute, right?
Yeah.
If you guys bomb, there's nothing to hide it. So, yes, I actually agree that it does accentuate things because it makes it so that we're not distracted by the crowd. It's a give and take. You also don't have the crowd screaming what, or cheering at the wrong time, or booing at the wrong time. But, and I think that on the second part of this question, an audience can mask those issues, or they can accentuate the issues even more. But they are definitely an increaser of all of those things, a multiplier factor.
Yeah.
So when you pull it away, things that are going to bomb, they bomb much more clearly. But at the same time, an audience can also make things that shouldn't bomb. But there's no recourse here. You can't blame the audience now. If you bomb, you got no one to blame but yourself.
You don't get to say, it's Bizarro land. They're cheering who they should boo and booing who they should cheer.
Right.
They're not doing anything.
You control the horizontal and the vertical now. And AEW literally did where the audience were actually people that they were under contract. They were employees. Yeah. So they really controlled the horizontal and the vertical. They controlled every aspect of the show, and they made it work. So, yeah, does it accentuate the issues? Yes. Does an audience mask the issues? Not always. Not always. Sometimes they exacerbate it or create new issues of their own. To answer that question.
Or you've got WWE filling the air with manufactured crowd noise.
Well, that's not the audience then, is it? That's WWE trying to mask another issue, which is supposed to be masking the issue, but it's not, because it's accentuating the issue because it's a crowd. You can't trust them. They're Bizarro. Bizarro.
Good question, Andy. I hadn't even thought about that yet. That one's going to stew on me for a few hours.
Rabid European fans and their smarkery.
Next up, Billy asks, in times like these, it's times like these you learn. Anyway, we all need a little humor. Me trying to sing is funny.
Was it?
And after, well, the idea that I can try. Anyway, after my week, listen, all joking aside here, I want to give a special shout out to Billy. Billy is a manager of a retail grocery store.
Right. Yes.
Shout out. He's in Colorado, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So there are people in the world right now that specifically need our help. Yes, the services industry, but the people that are propping things up right now are the grocery store kind of that are keeping people sane.
Medical injury, pharmaceutical industry, and anybody who's working retail right now and is not laid off and going home, but they're considered essential business, and they're having to deal with everyone being a goddamn psychopath right now. Like, quick shout out to everyone who is still working and getting their balls busted by all of these nut jobs who think it's the end of days. And Billy is definitely one of them. He was telling some horror stories on the Facebook discussion group. So props to you, Billy, and props to anyone who's listening to this show who is still out there and getting their ass handed to them by all the insanity. So major.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He said, it's times like these we need a little humor, and after my week I've had, so do I. We are still out of toilet paper.
Good God.
So which wrestler's gear are you stealing to get your wipe on?
The Mummy. Remember when Kane came out as the Mummy? That's the one I'm using. Oh, that's
This,
soft.
of course,
That's
causes
two-ply.
them to get new gear. So what should that gear be?
Oh.
Goodbye to that weird Shinsuke Nakamura bodysuit. Hello to black pants again.
You are not wiping a damn thing with that bodysuit. That's vinyl. That isn't going to catch anything. You're just going to smear it all over the place. You're going to be brown all up your backside. That's not going to be effective at all. I mean, are we thinking about this realistically, or is this a metaphor? Like he's saying, what wrestlers' gears do you hate and want them to do away with and get new wrestling gear? Is that what we're talking about here?
I'm gonna cheat and say Luke Harper's sweaty tank top, sweaty wife beater, because he ain't gonna need a new outfit because he already got one over at AEW.
That's cheating.
I know.
That's cheating.
Whose gear do we not like?
Damn. Oh, Evil. I'll wipe every last part of myself with his gear. I know you love it, man, but he comes out looking like someone who just stepped out of a Halloween store, like a Spirit Halloween store, and then he takes it off and he's got a damn singlet underneath it. Like, what? You're supposed to be evil, but you're wearing a damn singlet. How evil could you possibly be wearing a singlet?
You've got Shorty G looking like he just got a $100 gift card to Foot Locker, and you're gonna go to evil?
Yo, Shorty G.
The creativity in that
Chad
outfit
Gable
alone
could be fine wearing his little basketball shorts and tank top if he wasn't called goddamn Shorty G. If you had him as Chad Gable and he came out looking that way, no one would blink a goddamn eye. But because we're calling him Shorty G, it's the apocalypse because he's also wearing this goofy kids outfit. Okay, like that's something else. Evil's calling himself Evil, and he comes out in like this poofy cape thing with this overdone mask and a gigantic glowing light up scythe. It's goofy. It's goofy. I want him to be serious. If you're going to call yourself evil, you better goddamn look evil. It doesn't look evil. He looks like a wrestler who's been to the ramen shop one too many times. No disrespect. By the way, Evil is one of my favorite wrestlers. He's an incredibly talented guy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look like evil. Okay, I'm going off on that for a second.
He also wants Shinsuke's bodysuit gone. Did we address that one already?
Yes,
I'm kind of 50-50
I was saying you can't wipe your butt with that because
I want his current entrance thing gone and to bring back the old one where the crowd can sing along. Get rid of the rap song.
Yeah, agreed.
That has never gotten over with me. It's never worked.
I understand why they did
kind of killed his whole gimmick of the crowd singing.
Yeah,
you know. Look at what the fans are actually singing Jericho's chorus of Judas right now.
Yep.
You had that with Knock, and you took a whiz on it.
You had
anyway,
your chance, and you blew it.
Yeah. Thank you, Billy. Stay safe. Stay sane. We're always around. Message me if you guys ever need some pizzas or something, man. Let me know what I can do to give you guys some help. Next up, Esme Standing Bear. You're gonna love this one, Ian. We are going to play pick one or the other, and we're gonna do it rapid fire style.
Ooh.
No explanation, no commentary. We're running out of time here. We got to go fast, but I was looking forward to this one.
Okay. All right.
She says, "Hey, Pod Papas, let's play a this or that game. You can switch off and on who asks what, or just one person answering."
What are we doing? Are we switching off? Or am I getting all of this?
I think I'll ask it, and then you say yours, and I'll say mine.
Okay, cool.
We'll just run through them that way.
Perfect.
All right, The Omen or The Omen 2?
The Omen.
The Omen. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, or Halloween 3, Season of the Witch?
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, all day, all night, not even a question.
Yep. No brainer there.
All day, all night.
Sleepaway Camp or the original version of Trick or Treat?
Ooh, Sleepaway Camp.
I'm going to go Trick or Treat.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
The Stepfather, the original version, or The Hitcher, both originals.
The Hitcher.
The Hitcher.
Hitcher, man. Rutger Hauer. Come on now.
Yeah. Even the Sean Bean one wasn't terrible, but it's no Rutger Hauer.
No. Anything Rutger Hauer, automatically picking that.
Yes. The Road Warrior or Escape from New York?
That's a tough one.
See, most people did. I said no commentary. We're not doing this. Road Warrior or Escape from New York?
Road Warrior.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, but it's not that tough.
There's so much I want to say about because I'm a huge Mad Max fan. Shaking. Punisher Warzone.
That no explanation, man.
I know. I made the rule. I'm sorry. Punisher, Warzone, or Shoot 'em Up?
Oh, shoot him up. Shoot him up.
I don't know. I like Warzone.
Warzone's good, but
It's
shoot him up is
guilty humor that I
yeah,
love.
but shoot him up's
It's-
fun.
Yeah, both of those are
Those
really
are
good. I'm going to go Warzone, though.
All right.
The next one might break our friendship.
Okay.
Not our friendship, but we might forever be at odds between these two films.
All right.
I'm setting the stage here. Predator or RoboCop?
Predator. Easy.
We can be friends.
Predator.
Listen, I love RoboCop. Murray, I love RoboCop.
Love
This is
RoboCop.
one of my
Freaking love
it's
RoboCop. Predator
amazing.
is one of the greatest action movies ever made. Full stop. It's one of the greatest movies ever made. Full stop.
It set the bar. It's the template.
I can
of
quote
every
that
action movie
entire
after that.
goddamn movie.
Yeah.
Love Predator. Love frickin' Predator. Yeah, not even a question.
Good. We can still do the show. Spaceballs or Galaxy Quest?
Ooh. Oh, now you're gonna make me choose between my children. Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
I can not another movie I can quote front to back.
The Lost Boys or Near Dark?
Near Dark. Near Dark, not even a question. F Lost Boys. Near Dark all day long.
What? F Lost Boys?
You heard me. F Lost Boys. Near Dark
I'm
all day.
I'm picking Lost Boys just because
Lance
of that.
Henriksen. Lance Henriksen's son.
Well, it is all downhill after.
And
Aliens,
Bill
you know.
Paxton in one of the greatest
Again,
roles of his
Aliens.
career. Near Dark.
This one you're
Catherine
gonna have
Bigelow. Come on.
This one, Sir Ian Dangerous, might break you.
Uh-oh.
We might, if you folks have seen Scanners, and you know the guy where his head explodes, this one might do that to Sir Ian Dangerous. So brace yourselves.
Scaring me.
Hellraiser
Oh, God.
or The Crow?
Oh, Hellraiser.
I figured you were a bigger fan of The Crow than
I
that.
love The Crow, but
All right.
it's freaking Hellraiser.
Well, okay, fine.
I
thought that would break you.
No. Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
I love The Crow, but
I couldn't pick between those two.
it's
I honestly could not.
oh no, you're talking about like, the Crow is really good. It's really good. Hellraiser is like it's in the stratosphere. It's another level.
Fine. Fair points. Fair points. Lionheart or Bloodsport?
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
Bolo Young. Come on.
Yeah.
Bloodsport.
Flex. I can't flex my pecs. The Final Terror. Not that anybody would want to see that anyway. The Final Terror or Village of the Damned?
Ooh, Village of the Damned for historical purposes. Village of the Damned. Which Village of the Damned are we talking about here? Are we talking about the Carpenter version or which? I'm just going to assume the classic. Village of the Damned.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Village of the Damned too.
Okay.
Flash Gordon. This one might break Nick. Flash Gordon or Masters of the Universe?
Flash Gordon. Master of the Universe is goofy, but it's not a good movie. Flash Gordon is just sumptuous. It's like Master of the Universe was a cop out. No explanations. I'm sorry. Flash Gordon. No
Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon.
As much as I love watching that terrible film that is Masters of the Universe, and I played with G.I. Joes and I played with He-Man figurines and stuff.
Sure, me too. And I was let down as hell by Masters of the Universe. I'm like, what? We're not supposed to explain. No explanations. Flash Gordon.
Okay. The grand finale.
Okay.
It's time. We're getting
Scaring me.
and I know what your answer is going to be, and we are going to be at odds on this one.
Oh, okay.
Highlander
Okay.
or Conan the Barbarian?
Well, I'm going to pick Conan the Barbarian, the greatest movie of all time ever, one of my favorite movies ever.
Highlander.
And I'm not going to quote the opening thing again because I did that last week and probably no.
Clash your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women.
Started, Nick. You said we're running out of time.
Okay.
You're getting me started. Absolutely, Conan the Barbarian. Highlander. You can't make me pick a movie where they cast a French guy as a Scot as a Spaniard, and an American as a Russian warlord, and expect me to say that's better than Conan the Barbarian? Get out of here. Get out of here. Conan the Barbarian all day long.
Conan the Barbarian feels like more of a guilty pleasure. I've always enjoyed Highlander. I can't not watch either one of those.
Highlander is
films
just guilty and kind of a pleasure. I love the concept. The show was way better than the movie, except for the Queen soundtrack. Again, Queen soundtrack, Flash Gordon, Highlander. You got me on that. Who wants to live forever? All right. Sorry.
That was it. Thank you very much, Esme.
Thank you,
That was a
Esme.
good one. I love those games. I love those kinds of games. Next up,
dangerous.
Chris White, current BWO Patrons Pick'ems champion,
Champ.
who will be defending, pending all things stay as they are, will be defending his Patron Pick'ems championship at WrestleMania. What's up, gents? Hope all is well. What storyline happened in wrestling that everyone loved but you hated? Example, as much as I love Daniel Bryan, I thought his win at Mania 30 was stupid. Needless to say, that's extremely unpopular.
Yeah. I will need an explanation for that.
We're gonna need to have a conversation.
I'm gonna need to know what you thought was stupid about it. Was it just that it was kind of insipid, the way that they built it up, and it just seemed kind of obvious, or what? I'm trying to play devil's advocate to my own opinion on it, and I would love to know what that was.
I'm going to take a stab and just say that he probably didn't like the Occupy Raw thing either.
Yeah, that was a little, again, kind of.
That kind of set the people that I've all met that didn't like the
the
WrestleMania 30 story with Bryan. They hated that. That's where it turned for them. That whole Occupy Raw.
It was a little too on the nose, like the company.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Little trying to steer into the heat of the SJW PC stuff we were in at that time too.
A lot of
with Occupy Wall Street and things like that was going on. So, there was a lot of weird dynamics in society at that time as well. What's one thing in wrestling that happened in wrestling that you loved, that everybody loved, but you actually hated?
I've already said that I can't stand Ultimate Warrior. Was never a big fan of Batista, so a lot of the storylines with Batista I just never really connected for me. But I'm gonna go with one that I have had to fight with a long time. And I just keep quiet about it. I can't stand Stone Cold versus Shawn Michaels with Mike Tyson as the guest referee. That whole angle, that whole build was dumb as a box of rocks to me. And made no freaking sense. All of a sudden, Mike Tyson's in DX. All of a sudden, now he's a friend with Stone Cold, who has no friends. What? And we complained in the modern era about bringing in celebrities to get eyes on it. He's been doing it since WrestleMania 1. It's not like it's a new thing. But Mike Tyson was obviously just there to get that pop when he took it off his shirt and revealed the 316 shirt. So, yeah, no use for it. And everyone freaking loves it. It has great memories of it. And I'm just like, not a fan.
Yeah. I'm torn.
Uh-oh.
I have a couple. I don't know that everyone loved this. I think people eventually, now hindsight's 2020, we all know the outcome that eventually became of it. But I absolutely hated Seth Rollins turning on the Shield.
Oh, come on. Yeah, all right. I know you do. That's
And I know, and again, for me,
yep.
Hindsight 2020, it led to the amazing cash-in ultimately at WrestleMania that we got out of that. So I can't be.
All right, I'll give you that. It wasn't the greatest heel turn, and his heel character kind of sucked, but the actual execution of the betrayal of the Shield was fantastic.
Well, I'm going to credit Triple H with that because it's him walking out, setting it up with the sledgehammer going, we've always got a plan B. Wang, chair to the back.
And Dean's face, like looking at Roman's dead body hanging on the ropes, and and he's just kind of sitting there going, what is happening right now? Brain does not compute. That's all such good stuff. High drama. It's wrestling.
I remember literally standing up in my chair going, no, literally screaming, what the F? You just built the most dominant tag team in history. What are you
doing? Nick's Markery has overloaded him. Why? Why, Triple H? Why? Why would you do this? Why, Seth? No.
I was going to say the Stone Cold heel turn, but I don't think there's anybody that actually loved that one.
No, I don't think anyone loved that one.
Yeah. The Daniel Bryan one is a very polarizing thing.
Yeah.
For the most part, I've heard the great majority of people love it. Yeah, I totally got worked. Yep, absolutely, Andy. I got worked. Thank you, Chris. Next up, Marshall asks, creative freedom is everything, so my question is very simple. Why is Vince afraid of it? Broken Matt Hardy kept Impact afloat at times, and it got eyes on their product, and I can't understand why Vince blocks creations that aren't his. Loving the growth of this podcast. Can't wait to see where it goes. Thank you, Marshall. Thanks for being a part of it.
Thank you.
Coming along for the journey with us.
And thank you for also being someone who's putting himself out there to support people in this time, man. That's very cool of you. That's
man.
Seriously to be commended.
North Carolina.
Creative freedom. Vince doesn't like it because every time he's allowed it, things have gotten out of his control. Vince is a control freak. Basically, this question can be answered by doing a character study on Vince McMahon, or what we know of Vince McMahon from years and years and years and years and years of people telling us about him, and seeing all of the consistent corollaries between all those stories. And the one thing that it always comes down to is Vince likes to be in control. Vince doesn't like losing control. Vince doesn't like to lose.
I also tack on to that what Andy said in the chat. He doesn't get the credit.
Right. It is definitely an arrogance and a personal victory thing. This is a man.
It's a narcissism thing.
Yes, but this is also a man. He's such a control freak, and this is not apocryphal. This has been confirmed by his own children that he hates that he can't control when he sneezes, and he thinks that you're weak if you sneeze. That has been confirmed. He hates sneezing.
That sounds like a mental disorder.
And it's because he can't control it. He can't stop himself from doing it. Whenever he sneezes, he feels like he's lost, and he hates that. That's the mentality. And so,
but it feels so good.
Andy's right. Andy's right, though. Like, part of it is that mentality of, I want it to be about me. I want to get all the credit. One day, someone will make like a really well-researched, accurate documentary on Vincent Kennedy McMahon, from his bizarre childhood and all the crazy shit he got up to when he was a teenager, all the way up to the insane, risky moves he took as a young guy taking over his dad's business, and then going forward to being this maverick, insane dude who took on these billion-dollar corporations and won, survived everything that got thrown at him, whether it was a steroid scandal or having the name of his company forcibly changed. And he survived all of that and ended up creating a multi-billion-dollar company. And they're going to show like how incredible this guy was, while at the same time showing how absolutely batshit insane he was. But a lot of these sociopathic tendencies are what allowed him to succeed on this level, despite all of these obstacles and setbacks. So the problem is that now you've got founders syndrome in the WWE, where the biggest obstacle to the continued success of his company is himself. They've reached a certain point where he can't see the forest for the trees. And one of the things that he needs to allow is more creative freedom, and he needs to loosen the reins a little bit. But he can't see that because all he sees is, I got us here, therefore I must always be right. And so he can't allow people to have with Broken Matt, if he doesn't get it, which is what Broken Matt said, he's like, Vince just didn't get it. And if Vince doesn't get it, it doesn't happen. Yeah. And the problem is Vince is now becoming more and more out of touch with things and doesn't understand what flies and what doesn't. He's been notoriously surprised by reactions on numerous occasions just within the last year. But he also is savvy enough to know when things are working to keep working them. Matt Hardy came out and got attacked by Randy Orton. That's why they wanted to have him come out the next week. He's like, that really worked. Do it again. Even though we're getting Matt Hardy out of here, let's do it again. They'd already booked Matt Hardy. This is from the podcast, the Jericho podcast from this week. They'd already booked Matt Hardy to come out and have a 2-segment match. Even though he'd been concerto the previous week, he's going to sell the neck the entire time. But then right before this, I guess Paul Heyman pulled him aside and said, dude, are you out of here? And Matt Hardy said, I honestly don't know, but let's hash it out. They got into it all, and it all came down to, he's like, oh, I guess you're not going to meet my money or my creative demands, so I'm out. And then they made it just what it was, which was he goes out there and gets killed by Randy. But they set up that segment because Vince saw that it worked, and he was like, do it again.
Yeah.
Right? But that's also to a detriment. The same thing, Matt Hardy said, oh, there was the one time where I did my laugh and Bray did his laugh, and Vince thought it was the funniest thing ever. So we started doing it every single segment we were in ad nauseum over and over and over again until it just people were sick of it. Because Vince saw it worked once, so he decided to run it into the ground. So long explanation for your question there, but that's kind of why Vince has an issue with creative freedom. He likes to control everything. And if he doesn't get it, if he can't put his own stamp on it, then it's not his, then he doesn't want it to go. So you have all the creative freedom as long as Vince agrees with what you're doing, what your vision is.
Thank you very much, Marshall. Great question there. Last but certainly not least, another new patron this week, Clint Dietzman. Hey, guys.
Thank you for joining up, man.
Yes, thank you for welcome to the Phenomenal Ones.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hey, guys, pen is in your hands. What would you like to see AEW do with Broken Hardy? Who would you like to see him in a story with?
You know what I'd like to see them do? Sit back and let him do his own thing. Don't make him do a dance. Let whatever crazy shit has been festering up in Matt Hardy's head for the last 2 years, let him go crazy. Let him go wild. As far as who to put him in a story with, I don't know, Nick. What would be fun off the top of your head?
I don't know. It threw me off that he's going to be joining up with the Elite in Blood and Guts, and that kind of, huh?
Yeah.
That kind of just really messed me up. So I haven't been able to process that even. Who does he go?
I don't know.
Does he become a foil for the Dark Order?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That would make sense.
Does he eventually end up with a match with Luke Harper? Broken Matt Hardy versus the Exalted One? Long term? I don't know. I don't have any idea right now. We just saw him standing up in the crowd. He's in the rafters. We got to go. We're out of time. That's all we've seen is him doing the delete. And this the crazy eyes that he does. That's it. That's all we've seen.
Yeah. No idea.
Who knows? What would I do with him? Exactly what Ian just said. Shut up and hands off. Enable him, whatever he wants to do. Give him an honest college shot at whatever he wants to do. Tony Khan, if you happen to be listening, pay that man. Let him do what he wants to do. Fund his projects. Look at what he did over in Impact. He writes all this stuff. His family, his entire staff and family at the Hardy compound in Cameron, North Carolina, are all part of this. They're all characters.
Yeah.
Imagine what he can do with a roster.
Yeah,
like
I think,
AEW
and then we
has.
were even talking earlier in the chat. People were saying, he can't wrestle. Why would Vince want to keep him in a major program? It's not about his wrestling anymore. It's about his creativity. And the guy can make TV for you and have it be something that people are going to want to watch. Every once in a while, work, some sort of match, but mostly have it be content to put on your show. And I think they're already kind of having him go towards the one guy I'd be really interested in, and that's Jericho. As you said, the Dark Order would be an interesting foil. Depending if he goes rogue, like after he finishes up with the Young Bucks, if he just goes rogue and is not on any side, and he can just be someone who comes in and just causes havoc. You could have him feud with everyone from the Elite to all the way on down the line. The Luchasaurus and freaking Jungle Boy
kind of went crazy. Jimmy Havoc.
That's right. He's still around, isn't he?
Yeah.
Now, as long as he can stay sober and not screw things up for himself, then that'd be fun to see something happen there. Darby Allin would be an interesting foil.
Jericho mentioned Darby Allin as being the second coming of
Jeff
Hardy.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going 2 + 2.
Imagine if Darby Allin is the new Brother Nero. Or analog. Yeah, that'd be something. Yeah.
Interessante.
The pot stirreth.
The good news is that we've got nothing but good things to look forward to from all aspects in AEW.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those people that are we still have several that I talk to regularly every week. They're a bit of naysayers. They're a bit down. They're still kind of fanboying on WWE and NXT.
Sure.
And they're still singing NXT, and that's fine. Everybody loves what they love.
Like what you like.
But I fear that you're not giving AEW a chance. And if you have, fine. But if you haven't, do.
But you know what,
Nick? It's the best stuff on TV right now, in my opinion.
Not everyone likes mint chocolate chip ice cream. Even though arbitrarily, it is the best ice cream of all time. Not everyone
it's my
likes
favorite.
it.
There's
Not
2
everybody-
gallons in the freezer right now.
But not, but not everyone
Stock it
likes
up.
it. Some people are going to say, no, strawberry is the best. And that mint crap can just go fly a kite. And you know what? They're not wrong either. I mean, they are. Obviously, mint ice cream is the best.
Obviously, they're wrong. Right.
Obviously. But at the same time, they're allowed to have their opinion that strawberry is the best.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Well, thank you very much, Clinton. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with us on this extra long episode of the Patron Mailbag. We love you guys for all these questions. If you'd like to get yours in every week, head over to patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for just that $5 tier. You get access to a copy of the show notes for every episode and the ability to ask those questions every single week. For just $5 more at the $10 tier, you can get into all of our bonus episodes and that entire back catalog. It's like a whole extra podcast to have every single month for just $10 a month. It's the value tier. It's the best one. Absolutely. More up at the higher tiers like Skype calls, sweet swag, all kinds of good stuff. Ric Flair Nature Boy status. Woo! All kinds of good stuff at patreon.com/BWO. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel here. Jingle the little bell. We're on that run to 1,000. Oh man, we're so close. Thank you to everybody today. Sean Clark, Marshall, Jardy, Esme, and Andy for all of your contributions in the tip cup. Thank you very much for being, especially during this time, especially what everything in the world is going through right now, being willing to support creators. It is fantastic. Thank you so much for all of your contributions there. BWOpodcast.com to find all the links to all of our social media profiles. Get into the Discord. Subscribe via your podcast listening app of choice. And yes, YouTube is the home where we want to be. YouTube.com/BustedWideOpen. Make sure you're subscribed. My name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
But by God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.